Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the April 2024 Historic District Board of Review meeting. Give you a little bit of idea of what we're going to do this evening. Basically, we're going to do a little roll call and some little business ahead of time, and we're going to go down our list of applications for this evening, which are up there on the screen. We'll then basically have you present. Nicole will give a brief introduction to your project, and then we'll have you present, and then the board will ask questions if they have any questions or comments, and we'll ask the audience for questions and comments, and then take a vote. We'll then do staff presentations, and after that, we hopefully will adjourn. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask them after we get through with your presentations. So, Nicole, would you do roll call, please?
Yep. Mike Pittman.
Here.
Happy Smith.
Here.
Carol Ann Rogers.
Here.
Ken McWilliams.
Here.
Sandy Palmer. Judd Skillman.
Here.
And Bill Jewell.
Bill Jewell is not an official member of the board yet. This is a learning session for him. So we hope he comes back next time, but it's a learning session for him. So he will not be participating. Is that right, Nicole? He'll just be watching. So if he doesn't say anything, don't worry. Our first application this evening.
Do minutes.
Oh, minutes.
Thank you.
Do we have to? Okay, minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions or corrections?
No.
I move the minutes be approved as written.
I second.
We have a motion, a second. Can we have a roll call vote?
Mike Pittman.
Approve?
Carol Ann Rogers. Approve. Happy Smith.
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Judd Skillman.
Approved. Okay. Thank you, Nicole. You'd think I'd have it down by now, wouldn't you? Our first application is from Andy Crabtree, 1018 Park Avenue. Andy, would you come up to the podium, give us your name and address, please?
Hi, Andy Crabtree. I am at 3031 Marsh Road in Switzerland County.
Okay.
This is my first property in Madison,
Okay.
downtown.
All right, we'll have Nicole
So-
give a brief introduction to your project here.
This is a circa 1960 vernacular non-contributing structure. The COA request is to replace the aluminum siding with vinyl siding, replace the shingle roof with a metal roof, and replace the wood windows with vinyl windows. This is probably the clearest picture of the front, but I have a variety of pictures provided by the applicant showing both the siding and the condition of the windows.
Okay, Andy, tell us a little bit about your project.
All right. Had the property about a year. We've worked extensively on the inside, and this spring we're going to challenge and attack the outside. The original 6 windows that are 30 by 40, they're a wood structure around. They're showing a lot of sign of water damage. Most all of them have at least 1 or 2 broken glass. So just the contractor, we're going to replace them. And I got prices on vinyl windows, $318 a piece. And I got wood structure, double panes, they're at $666 each. The vinyl siding, Nicole asked me to pull, there's a lot of those 6-inch aluminum that is just put on by sheet metal screws from damage over the years. I pulled it back, and it is no lap board construction under it. It's just basically an insulation board, a black insulation board onto the studs. So it was never built, lap board. The roof, we've got some shingles on there now. My home, we used a metal 5V roofing, and was very pleased with it, with the cost and the efficiency. With the vinyl siding and the metal roof, there are several homes on Park as you exit Madison going towards VV that have the similar type. So we're trying to take this home and match kind of what's already in existence there on Park Avenue. The finish, we were gonna go with a dark blue, black roof with white trim is the goal that we're shooting after.
Okay. All right, is that it?
Yep.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board?
Well, underneath, I know what you mean by that black particle board. I've seen that. Are you gonna replace that?
No, it's sound enough for an insulation factor that we're gonna go on top of it.
So you're not gonna put plywood on it or anything like that?
I don't believe unless we run into some structure that we don't, water damage and things like that. I mean, if we do, we have to, if it doesn't look sound enough to use, whether it be the studding or the board, then we would replace it, yes. But until we get it tore off, we're not at 100% what we're up against there. It seems sound enough now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your roof that you're planning on, is that gonna be the type of roof that a lot of people refer to as a barn metal roof or an exposed fastener roof? Is that what the V5 roofing is?
It's not the wavy corrugated.
Okay,
It's like 2 ribs and a center rib with about 8 inches.
and it does have visible kind of fasteners on top a little bit?
It's.
I guess what I'm trying to ask is, it's not standing seam?
Mr. Crabtree, you said that you want to replace the aluminum siding with a vinyl siding, is that correct?
Yes.
When I was going through that neighborhood, I noticed there's several houses there that have, and I know you probably know your neighbors by now, I don't know, but there's several that have been rehabbed or even built new. Do you know what they are covered with, what the siding is they have?
They're just to the west, Nathan, which is the preacher of the church there. His is vinyl siding. Across the street, there's a new brick construction, the 2-story, and then there's 3 in a row that are almost going back towards town that are vinyl siding.
Okay.
So out of the 7 to 8 homes right there, a large percentage are already vinyl siding.
Okay. And don't you have is there a mobile home across the street from that that's kind of,
No, there's 3 little houses that are,
oh, they look like mobile homes, okay.
well, they are just a regular metal roof, and yeah, and I do have pictures of the 3 homes across the street and both beside me, or to east and west of me,
Okay.
if anybody would care to take a look at it.
As far as the aluminum siding, I did a building with aluminum siding, and as I pulled it off, I threw it into a trailer, took it over to a salvage yard, and they got $80 out of it. So I don't, of course, that's been a few years ago. I don't know what it's worth today.
I did
but-
one in Ripley County, I got 1,200.
Well, good for you.
So,
All right,
yeah,
there you go. It's
the
gone up a
aluminum
little bit
is
since I did
salvageable.
mine, so, okay, good.
Yep.
Just want you to throw it away.
No, very much so.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Any other questions from the board?
No.
Okay, so we do findings of fact?
Thank you.
No, we're not, you're not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Questions from the audience?
Oh, any questions from the audience? Okay, findings of fact. Jed, would you like to take us through findings of fact?
Thank you. Okay, findings of fact, Madison Historic District Guidelines 3.0 Materials, Wood, Siding, and Shingles, page 44 to 48. 3.8, the use of vinyl or aluminum siding or trim is not appropriate. 3.9, the use of fiber cement, cementatious siding may be approved for replacement of the deteriorated wood siding, new structures, non-historic structures, and additions to historic structures not visible from the public view. Madison Historic District Guideline 15.0, roofs, page 71 to 73. Preserve the original and significant later roof forms, shapes, and major roof architecture elements such as dormers, gables, chimneys, and eave overhangs. New roofing materials should be compatible with either the existing or original roofing material. Madison Historic District Guidelines 18.0, windows, page 82 to 86. Retain and preserve historic windows, including all significant related elements such as frames, sashes, shutters, hardware, old glass, sills, trim, and molding. Maintain existing historic windows where possible. Repair existing historic windows where possible, rather than replace the entire window unit. Replace in kind, using replacement windows that match the existing historic elements as closely as possible. New windows must match the original in overall size and opening area, and should have three-dimensional muntins with either true divided lights, TDL, or simulated divided lights, SDL, which have three-dimensional grills and on both the exterior and interior sides, and a shadow bar between the panes. Is there more? That's the findings of fact.
Do you agree or disagree?
Okay,
No, hold on.
Well,
He has to agree or disagree.
Oh, I'm
with it.
sorry.
okay, this is part of the questions that I have, because I see your point of view from an economic standpoint, and I see pointing to another house next door and the two across the street that have gone to vinyl sidings, but it's out of code, and there was a previous board here that had to have approved it, right?
Well, this is a non-contributing structure, so this is really not a historic structure,
So he can do what he wants?
if we let it.
Okay. My only thought on that is you're making a lateral move. You're improving the house, what do you want to say, incrementally, but not improving the thing like moving it up to white sidewalls and chrome strips, so.
It's not the Bel Air model.
Yeah, it's not about, yeah. That's my point of view, simple as that.
Heavy?
Okay, so the application does not meet guidelines, so these guidelines, you'll hear a lot about them at the meeting. These are really intended to preserve all of our historic structures in town. So we have stuff from 1820, all the way up to, and your building is, of course, a later building. It's a fine building. That doesn't mean it's not a fine building, but it's a later building. So then it becomes much harder for us to ask of homeowners, and especially where the surrounding buildings, there's a lot of vinyl there. We don't really have control over what happened in the past, so we really do like to try and encourage people to do the best they can in terms of honoring the historic district. You're on one of the entryways into Madison, so we're really glad that you're putting improvements into the building, but I guess, sorry, does not meet guidelines.
Carol Ann?
I agree that the guidelines as they are written, per se, it may not meet that guideline, but I have to agree with Jeb in that putting that building back into a condition where as you're coming into town, you say, isn't that a cute little house, as opposed to the little rundown structure that it was. And even though it doesn't specifically meet the guidelines, I think because the house is a non-contributing and a newer house, if you will, it's 100 years newer than a lot of houses we have in our town. I think that he should be allowed to put the vinyl on it. If that's the main problem that we have with it, is the vinyl. And I think because of the outlying structures, the other ones, I think someone who drives past that would never look at it and say, oh my, he's got vinyl and not aluminum. I don't think it's going to matter that much. And I think the advantage is to have it fixed.
Ken?
Tim?
Ken? The air's going bad on you.
No, they have.
So it does not meet the guidelines, but Mr. Crabtree, I appreciate everything you're doing on this house, and I'm not offended by any of the materials you're choosing, so.
Okay.
I could have said it like that.
And I agree with Ken and really everybody. I think the bottom line is, this is really not a historic structure, but you're making a significant improvement, significant investment, as you know.
Yeah.
And we appreciate what you're doing, so I would agree that although you don't meet our official guidelines, you're making a good effort in improving that property. So I'll entertain a motion.
Based upon the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Mr. Crabtree for his home at,
1018 Park.
yeah, thank you. Now, thank you. 1018 Park and not in Beebe. So 1018 Park Avenue.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Caroline seconds. Do a roll call vote, please. Easy for me to say.
Ken McWilliams,
Approved?
Carolyn Rogers,
Approve.
Mike Pittman,
Approved?
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Jed Scoman.
Approved.
Your application is approved. You'll be getting a letter in the mail, certificate of appropriateness. Make sure you get all your permits
Yep.
from the city. And I'm glad you're a Switzerland County resident, because I've got a farm over there, so good county.
Just wondering where you were going.
All right, take care, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next application is Donnie Vaughn at 710 West Second Street. Is Donnie Vaughn here? We'll put his application to the end.
Oh,
Okay. Our next application is Judy Stasier, 518 East Second. Hello, welcome back.
Well, thank you. Nice to be here.
Nicole?
This is a circa 1910 Craftsman contributing structure to the district. Their COA request is to install a 9-foot by 12-foot metal gazebo and a 10-foot by 13-foot deck in the backyard. This is the front of the structure from 2nd Street. This is the area in which they'd like to install the gazebo and deck.
So that photo's taken from inside their property, from the back of their house in Second, right? It's not visible, it wasn't taken from the alley or Second Street?
This was taken from,
Okay.
just
I just-
inside from Second Street, basically. It's looking from, this is what you see from Second Street.
If your house wasn't there,
Huh?
doesn't your house block this?
Alas, no. The
It's more or
garage
less their side yard.
It's the side yard, basically. It's a very wide lot, and the house, what you see there is the house at the left, that's the left side of the house, the west side of the house,
The white structure in the back is a garage.
That's right.
ah,
barely, but yes.
Okay.
And then this slide shows the gazebo that they'd like to install in that square. The site plan shows where it's sitting. So as you can see, it's more or less their side yard versus a backyard. And that is all I have.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add?
Not unless you have questions, no, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, that's not the gazebo, but it's very like that. I mean, it's a metal structure with fabric and a roof like that, so that's what it's.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
no. Not for me.
Nothing? Any questions from the audience? Got a quiet group tonight. Okay, Happy, would you like to take us through findings of fact?
Sure. So this project wants to build, I think, a deck, and then on top of the deck, a gazebo. Am I understanding correctly?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You want to build a deck, and then on top of the deck, you're putting your gazebo.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna, I think this project does meet guidelines. We're gonna reference 2.1. Well, it's saying that they should be constructed of wood. Okay, yours is not gonna be constructed of wood, so perhaps it does not meet 22.1. 22.2, they should not obscure views, or damage historic features of the adjoining building. You absolutely meet those guidelines. 22.3, you should be located out of the, public eye. You're in your fenced-in yard, so you absolutely meet that guideline. And then here, we also have for new construction, decks are gonna be on the rear of a historic building, you meet that guideline. It's on the ground, you meet that one. Design the decks to eliminate, any damage to the building, I think you meet that guideline. Your deck is not being attached to your building at
No,
all,
it's a
right?
floating deck, it's
So
happening on it.
27.3 doesn't apply, 27.4 doesn't apply because it's not attached. So in all regards, except for the fact that it's not wood, you do meet guidelines, and it's out of the public eye. I think essentially for the purposes of this board, it meets the guidelines sufficiently.
Okay, Jed?
I think it meets the guideline, A, and B, the deck sits back far enough from the street. It's probably close to 100 feet from the sidewalk. It's back a good ways, so it works fine, and it's also, if down the road they don't want it anymore, it's no problem to remove it, so they're not changing anything in any kind of a permanent way.
Okay. Ken?
I agree with Happy and think it meets the guidelines.
Okay, Caroline?
I agree that it meets the guidelines.
Okay, and I also agree. Do we have a motion?
So moved. I move that it meets the guidelines and that we vote to approve it.
Here you go, send this
Do
down.
I have to read it?
Have
Exact
to read it.
form? Okay. Oh, yeah, let's do this.
Middle of the page.
Yeah,
then.
Jed's
Okay.
fairly new. We're gonna train him tonight.
Yes,
okay?
I'm getting trained on this.
I can do it if you want me to,
Yeah, go
since I
ahead,
did
why
the
don't you,
thing.
she's gonna do it.
I got this cue sheet here. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Judy Stacer for the proposed deck and gazebo located at the rear of 518 East Second Street. And that's it.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Ken seconds. Do we have a roll call vote?
Happy Smith,
Approve?
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Jed Skillman,
Approved.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
Mike Pittman.
Approve.
Get my page back.
Oh, he wants his page back. He's an Indian giver.
You may have to do this yourself.
You've heard this before. You'll get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail, so make sure you get all your permits
This paper.
and
Yep, we have-
have a good time in the backyard this summer.
Thank you very much. Getting hard to see out the windows with all the green paper. We do appreciate your help. Thank
All
you.
right. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, our next application is from Brian Marshall at 108 West Fifth Street. And I vaguely recognize Brian. Nicole? Oh, yes. Name and address, please, Brian.
Brian Marshall, 201 Plum Street.
And I know he comes quite often, but just for the official record. So this is a non-contributing vacant lot, which I know doesn't quite show on the screen correctly. The applicant recently split this parcel off of the two facing West Street, but his request is to build a 40-foot by 47-foot pole barn. So the legal address is going to be 108 West Fifth Street, but the county hasn't actually done that in the system yet. So the applicant's provided a couple of photos. So the lot you're looking at is between the fenced-in area of the dark-colored house on Fifth Street and then the houses that face West Street. This is the view facing the street. Both sides will be blank, and then the rear is also going to be blank, which would be facing the creek. And then setback wise, he does meet all setbacks according to the zoning requirements. And that's all I have.
Okay, Brian? Anything to add? Nope.
It'll be a metal door, and I'd like to put a wood grain door on there,
Mr. Marshall, are you going to, I think it says on here you plan on storing automobiles there. Is this going to be your unit, or is it going to be shared with the building that you're doing next to it, or what?
Yeah, it'll be mine, but I own the buildings next door too. They'll be rentals.
So this is just for automobile storage?
Yes,
Okay.
not a rental, correct.
Does that mean, really what you're building is a rental garage, so people that in the area can rent a garage space, park the car in there? That's what,
No, just my personal stuff will be in there.
okay.
Ah.
It
Okay.
seems like a really big pole barn. You know, I kinda looked up average size for garages, 20 by 20, 20 by 30. This is, am I right, 40 by 48? I was looking at your, you know, your plat map of your new property. It seems like your pole barn really almost occupies the whole of your new carved out piece of property here when you make the new address, you know, when the new plat gets drawn. So I was just, you have 25 feet here between your pole barn and Fifth Street?
Yes,
Center of Fifth, okay. Because you have a 48-foot pole barn and you only have 54 feet length of your, you know, coming out to the street dimension of your, plat, your new plat. What do your neighbors, think about, the pole barn?
well, I own the two structures to the right, and Pettit owns the rental house, the blue navy house, and it's vacant. The house next to it is vacant as well. So I don't know what they think.
That faces a police station, doesn't it, as well?
Yes, across the street is police station.
This is not going to be a commercial enterprise. This is going to be a private thing, right?
Correct.
Okay.
How tall is the center ridge? I know you say the walls are 9 feet, so the center, how tall does that go?
I don't know. It's not gonna have an upstairs or anything like that in it.
18 feet.
Brian, what's the height of the garage door?
It is 16 foot wide, 7 foot tall.
So,
Just 7 foot tall? Okay. But kind of following on Happy's, the scale of your concept is just so overwhelmingly large for that lot and that part of town. I just wonder, why so big?
I got a lot of cars. It's still 20 foot off the back of 701 and 703 West Street. And it still meets the setbacks on the other property lines.
The design to me is not compatible, appropriate for the district. I mean, what other ideas do you have? Have you thought of other ways to construct this?
Not really. I tried to dress it up as much as I could.
No, I can tell you tried. It's just hard to do.
The windows and door, is there gonna be an office in there as well?
Yes.
Brian? Okay. And I assume that's faux stone on the front,
Yes.
faux stone front?
This will be the office for your construction company?
Well, I've got rentals, and I thought maybe in the future I could have people dropping off rent there versus my house, but that, I just don't know.
People
about
could what? Drop what?
that. Dropping rent off
Okay,
instead of at my house.
okay.
This whole area has really undergone a transformation in maybe the past 6 years. Just a block over on Mulberry, at Mulberry and Fifth. That was a whole dilapidated, neglected area with abandoned buildings. All of those buildings have been rehabilitated. There's more people moving into the other empty remaining lots there. Judy Kaler has done 3 or 4 buildings in the area. Of course, what you're doing at 701 and 703. This whole area is really kind of coming back as a pretty cool neighborhood. I know it is a bit of a mixed neighborhood with the police station and the law office, but But, I would love to see us, encourage, everybody to do things that are gonna encourage further investment in the neighborhood. And specifically, put, in the neighborhood buildings that are compatible with the historic buildings that are already there.
Is there any reason, this is just, I don't know whether this is a proper question, that your business or your office needs to be downtown, rather than on the hill or, on either one end of the town or the other, rather than in this area? Is it, you just own the property, so that's a good place to build it?
Yeah, I just wanna be downtown, yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking that the drawback I have are the aesthetics of it, in that, if you go right on down Fifth Street there to, I can't think of the gentleman's name, where you turn up on Broadway, but he's now putting brick on his building.
Yes.
That, even though it's a commercial building, it's, to me, now with the brick on it, it's very, very attractive. And this looks more like an industrial building in a residential, transitional neighborhood. I agree there's other things that are happening there, but, and I love what you're doing with 701, was it 701 and 3? I think that's remarkable, but I think it's the appearance that is holding me back from saying, go for it, in that it looks like a pole barn.
I guess we'll go back to the question, Brian. Have you thought about any other types of material or design on the building?
I hadn't really, it's possible, maybe LP siding on the front of it.
No, we need, I think we're all off put by the pole barnness of it, Brian. There's many new garages built downtown at Vine and Presbyterian. There's several new that just have a different option for us.
Would you be willing to consider maybe tabling this and taking a look at it and coming back with a different type design?
I guess, what would be the alternative?
Well, as Ken said, maybe looking at some other type material on the front, maybe a little different designs with it doesn't have to be an historic look. It has to be something, it has to be something that's, probably that doesn't look so much like a pole barn with garage door and windows and door. I think that's what's holding everybody. I like the brick in the front, but you still got a pole barn.
On one hand, I don't want to say consult with an architect, but there's somebody that can take that and say, it's a box, but every building is a box. Put a little magic to it so that it complements the building you're doing right next door to it. That's gonna be a neat building. And a couple of others in the area so that it enhances them rather than just kind of sits there in the sun. And like I say, I'm not sure you need an architect exactly, but you need design help on that to pump it up.
So try to make it look a little more residential?
I don't think it needs to be looking residential because you've got the police station there, you've got KDH has got several buildings around there. But you do have some nice residential structures that have been rehabbed and look, but that, you need to design it the way you need it to look for functionality. But we also want to think about the aesthetics of the area. And I think from what I'm hearing from the board, this is a step back. We want to move it forward and in the design phase. And if you had some other alternatives to look at, something else to think about, because it's a pole barn with a garage door and two windows and a door. I think it would enhance your application, number one. And number two, I think it would enhance the area overall.
All right.
Because you're putting a pretty significant investment just on that corner. And this would add to that investment, I mean, from my vantage point. And granted, I'm no Donald Trump of land, but I think it would certainly add to the area. Because there's been some significant investment all up and down that street, and still is.
We do have other, in some places, some other pole barns around town, but oftentimes they're in alleys. They're not on a major street. You know, that's gonna be a pretty visible pole barn as you drive down Fifth Street. As you drive up West Street to go up Michigan Road, one of the three ways to get out of town, it's gonna be right there. It's gonna be it really is gonna be a very visible building. Makes it hard.
All right.
But would you be amenable to tabling it and coming back with a different design?
Yeah. Whatever it takes.
That's a motion, correct?
Do we have a motion?
Is that a motion, Michelle, we have to move? Okay. So I move that we ask Brian Marshall to table his request for the 108 West Fifth Street.
And I'll second it. Can we have a roll call vote? Oh, and Brian, you agree with it?
Yeah, so when would that be?
Be next month,
Okay.
next month's meeting.
It'd be May 28th.
I don't need to file anything new or, okay.
No.
All right, I'll see what I can do with it.
Roll call, Ken McWilliams,
Approve?
Mike Pittman,
Approve?
Happy Smith,
Approve?
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Didn't we ever get any community comment?
Thank you for being flexible. Yeah.
We didn't get any community comment, did we?
All right, did I see Donnie Vaughn walk in? Come on up.
Sorry, I wasn't aware I had to be here.
Donnie Vaughn, would you state your name and address, please?
Donald R. Vaughn, 710 West Second Street.
Okay, and Nicole?
This is a circa 1880 Queen Anne contributing structure to the district. The COA request is to build a 15-foot by 15-foot wood gazebo with stone fireplace in the backyard. The applicant has provided this nice photo of his backyard, just noting that the current gazebo pergola is going away, and the applicant would like to replace it with a model similar to this with a fireplace. And it is going to sit within the required setbacks along the back of the house. It's probably just going to be about the ridge and roof that you'll see over the privacy fence.
Okay. Okay, you have anything to add?
That covers it.
You did a good job. Thank you, Nicole. Any questions or comments from the board?
Okay, you did say you're gonna take down what's there now and you're gonna recreate.
I'm gonna move it, I have a hot tub behind the house, and I'm gonna move it over there,
Oh, okay.
hopefully.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much for the completeness of your drawings and your plans, especially giving us heights. It's very helpful. Thank you very much.
That goes, Hunter Brown took care of all that, so.
I think it's fine. He's almost directly behind Mad Love, who was in here recently for their outdoor thing, so, you know, you'll have company across the alley.
Okay, is that it from the board? Any questions or comments from the audience? Quiet bunch tonight.
Hungry.
Okay, can we have findings of fact? Oh, there it is.
Who are you assigning?
I'm doing Carol Ann. I only picked on you once tonight.
I know, thank you. Let me get back to it here. Okay. being as we've already kind of approached a gazebo and pergolas before, this is going to come from the 22.1, 2, and 3. And the first one is it's wood. That applies as you're going to do it. It shouldn't obscure view or damage historic features. It does not. It should be located out of limited public view, which it is. And it appears that it's going to meet the factors in the ordinance as far as the height and the proportion of it. It's a very nice looking design. I assume you're going with that design that you have that shows the fireplace with
Yeah,
it.
not exactly, but yes,
Okay.
that's the goal, yes.
And when will it be ready that we can come over? It's
He
really
hopes to
very,
start, this week, so.
it's very, very pretty. But with the first three standards and ordinances there, I agree that it's compatible, it's good.
Ken?
I agree with Carol Ann for same reasons.
Ken?
I agree with Carol Ann. She hit the nail on the head.
Abby?
I agree with Carol Ann.
And I also agree. Do we have a motion?
So, based upon the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Donnie Vaughn if he invites the board over.
You can leave that little piece out.
Full opening the 15th.
Grant the certificate of appropriateness to build a 15 by 15 wood gazebo with a stone fireplace at 710 West Second Street.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second? Two people are going to the gazebo. Can we roll call vote, please?
Ken
Nicole.
McWilliams,
Approve?
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
You'll get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail. Make sure you get all your permits and have fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Vaughn.
Glad you made it. Okay, new old business or old new business.
I have one item for new business. I'm gonna invite, Park Director, Scott Klein, to the podium to explain, these improvements at Hargan Matthews Park.
Good evening, Board. Scott Klein, Director of Parks and Rec for the City of Madison. Correct me if I get the history wrong. In late 2022, the Cookie Caper designated their proceeds to go towards a shade structure at Hargan Matthews Park. It languished prior to my arrival in April of 2023, trying to find the right design for the right budget. I've been working with Marcy on a design that comes within a budget. They donated about $5,000. I put an additional $8,500 in my budget this year to cover the gap, and the design has come back with what you see here. It's designed and designated to give shade to not only part of the playground, but part of the green space on the north side of the playground. As you know, in the summertime, it gets brutally hot down there, and it can be a little bit overwhelming for the kids on the playground and parents just hanging around. So the idea of this would be on the western edge of the playground, which is on West Street. There are two different poles. You can't really tell from this drawing, but it's not a flat screen. It's 11 feet are one set of poles and 9 feet are another set of poles. So it'll be on a little bit of a diagonal. It's not a perfectly square structure as far as the sailcloth goes. It's dimensional, so it gives a little bit of shape and modern visual to it. It would come down in the winter time and go back up. It's on pulleys and string to keep it up. The drawings I have are, they come from Tension, which is the manufacturer. These are structural engineer stamped drawings. So we have a 3-foot footer for each pole, and then everything, all the hardware comes and we assemble it on site. So it really is, it's a shade structure to help protect the kids playing at the playground.
I guess my only question, Scott, would be the safety aspect as far as the wind. has it got a wind rating on it? Because we do get some pretty good wind coming up the
Yeah,
Ohio River.
it does. The structural drawings have all the wind loads.
Okay.
It goes through all the calculations, upload, download. I can pass this along, and actually, I'll probably open to the page for it so you can see those calculations and see the visual part of it, which to me is kind of cool. The way that they identify the wind piece of it. Oops, sorry.
Thank you, sir.
So the calculations show different directions of wind and how the sail reacts to that. Then, of course, if we have, really strong winds coming, we can always lower it for those events as well.
Scott, excuse me, but what are the dimensions? Just one side, because it's square.
They're about 20 feet, 10 inches
Really?
square for the post to post.
Wow.
And I
Well,
would
that's
see
good.
that the 9-foot section would be close to the fence on West Street, inside the fence, going out into the park, and 11 feet is height. To give you a frame of reference, if you think about the playground, kind of supposed to look like a steamboat, those stacks on the steamboat are 15 feet. So this would be lower than the tallest point of that structure.
So in other words, we can expect people, young people, to try to jump from the stacks on the top of here.
Of course.
Trampoline
And see if they
around.
bounce.
Yeah, they won't
I
do
know
very
mine
well,
would have.
but they could. I won't put anything up, yeah, people are crazy.
20 by 20.
But that's a fabulous park, ladies. That's just a fabulous park.
It's very heavily used.
And it's great, Scott, because 0 to 3 can play there, and at Goins, Scott, Goins doesn't have anything a young child can do.
Yeah, Oak Hill's the same. It's difficult for toddlers to
Yes,
be
I
in.
know, I'm
and
shocked by that.
That's why this is such a great park.
It is a great park.
And honestly, the toddlers are probably the most vulnerable of all the children playing there to the heat, so. We think this will help. We have to figure out exactly where it's gonna go to maximize its use. And we'll include Marcy in, trying to figure that out as well.
Does it stay up all winter?
The poles will stay up, but the sailcloth is retractable. We'll take it down, in high winds and in the wintertime.
Did you say it was 8 foot?
It's 11 feet, on the inside and 9 feet up closest to West Street.
I'm sorry, the poles.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
11 feet
Thank you.
tall and 9 feet tall.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And the pole dimensioning is 20 by 20. That's not necessarily it's not a square cloth, so it's 200, so 20 by 20 would be 400 square feet. This is 291 square feet of material.
Okay.
What is the material, Ken?
It's a canvas. It's actually like a sail material,
Okay.
so it's built for wind.
For wind?
Yep. And the color's fairly close. It's a navy royal blue look to it, so the color depicted on the drawing's fairly close to what it will be.
My wife's in the audience. I'm not allowed to talk about colors.
I don't pick color either. I made that statement last week. I learned that a long time ago.
Marcy, you guys did a good job.
I know. I don't know. Why is this in front of us?
We don't necessarily need a formal approval on this, but since it's downtown, it is theoretically within your purview, so I wanted to bring Scott before the board just to make sure that there weren't any objections from the historic board.
I think it's a great idea.
No, because the little umbrellas just disappeared and broke off, and
Yeah.
the tables broke, so, yeah, this is
Yeah,
great.
this is a little bit more sturdy. And I want to thank Marcy and the Cookie Caper for thinking of the kids and being diligent and pushing to get this done.
And the board, did anyone receive cookies as a bribe? I want to make sure. No one received, okay, that's good. No bribes. No bribes were involved. No, this is wonderful. So, but thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you
Thanks,
coming
ladies.
for us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, for having come before us. It was nice.
Sir, would you like to have this back, or do we keep this?
I've got, if you want to hold on to it, you can. I've got copies. Thank you.
I'm gonna quiz Ken on some of the formulas later.
I have beer. I can get through it.
We can get through it.
one item of old business is the amendment to the rules and procedures. We heard this at the meeting last time, but the amendment is for the notice section under certificate of appropriateness. The change to that section is that the board is asking for the fee of $2 per sign to be extended if the application is deemed incomplete, that the applicant would be responsible for posting new signs and paying for that fee for the repostings. I did speak with legal on this, and it's been agreed to legally, so if the board wants to approve it tonight, they can.
Did everyone have a chance to read the rules of procedure amendment?
The rules of what?
Procedure amendment. It's basically, we would, if someone basically doesn't show up for the meeting and we extend the application,
Oh, yeah, yes.
okay? I'll make the motion that we approve the rules of procedure.
You'll have to ask for a public comment.
Oh, do we have any public comment?
If Linda gets up.
Linda gets up, we're dead.
I know.
Okay, now Mike.
Now I can do it? I move that the HDBR approve the rule of procedure amendment to charge a fee of $2 per sign if the application is deemed incomplete.
I second.
We have a second. Motion a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers, Jed Scoman,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Staff report.
A lighter month this month for staff reviewed COAs, just 5 this month. A couple of fences, one sign, and then a couple other projects, one siding and then one kind of overall adaptive reuse that met the guidelines, which I was happy with having a shorter month since it was just me, but I've already got a couple in the works for next month, so.
Okay.
And then 2023 COA reviews, you have 2 that were not completed or started, 815 East First Street and 1103 West Main Street. I'm gonna send them out letters to see if they're still intending to do that work, and then if they are, I'll have them reapply. But everything else is either completed or in progress.
Okay. That's it? Does anybody from the board have anything else?
Yes. Are you scaring away all the applicants in town? We've had very short meetings all spring. That's not right. Yes, but there's a. That was not that bad. Usually this is the time of year we're loaded, and I just wondered. Okay.
Ken, your comment is duly noted.
Would you like me to make an motion that we adjourn?
Please.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Oh, second, sorry. Aye.
Thank you all.
Next meeting is on a Tuesday because we have Memorial Day on Monday, so it'll be Tuesday, the 28th.
28th.
Do not show up on Memorial Day because I will not be here to open the doors and let you in.
That'll be a good reason not to have the meeting. Thank you all for sticking it through. I'd like to see our one Switzerland County person stay till the bitter end. Thank you, sir.